We are back, Sienna, with another episode of Rooted and Rising. And if you are watching this, you can already tell that we have a special guest.
We do. Welcome, Miss Mercedes. Thank you for coming.
Our special
being here.
Yeah, right. We got to at least intro her a little bit. This woman has had an amazing transcendence.
Yeah.
Special education teacher to now regional manager over states for one of the fastest growing sport in the world, that is crazy.
It's crazy.
So we're very thankful that you're here to talk to us and tell us about your roots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we're here for. You know, it's not about what you do doesn't make you who you are. It's what you
overcame.
Who you are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not how you. It's not how hard you can get hit. It's how hard you can get hit, fall down, and then get back up.
Yeah. The journey's been crazy, and I think there's been so many pieces within it that I can look back and pull from and be like, yeah, that was why. Looking back and being able to piece together the why when in the moments you never really know of why things are being shifted the way that they are, why you're being pulled one way or the other. Or, the moment that I knew that I needed to leave teaching and go into something else. Now I didn't know what that was going to be.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun to look back on the crazy journey.
Look at you. Just the way you speak, girl. I was just complimenting how you talk and everything. So I know you've come a long way. And so I know you briefly mentioned you're from Montana. However, I was curious, when did you move to the Cypress area?
I've been here since I was 5.
Okay.
So, I mean, I still have some family up there. We visit.
I was going to say, okay.
Often.
Beautiful.
Not often as I'd like. It's so beautiful up there. I'd like to be up there every summer. But still some family, but I've been here in the Cypress area since I was 5. So.
Okay. Do you have family here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. My immediate family is all here. So
okay, good.
My parents, my brothers, sister-in-law, some niece and nephew, and
good.
My son.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And you said your son is 12.
He is.
Okay.
12, almost 13. Oh, no.
Cool. What grade is that? What grade? Because it's summer now.
So we go into
middle
8th
school.
grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got one more middle school, which I am thankful for. And
yes.
we can still get through one more. I know it's going to be a rough, just relationship-wise of us growing together through 8th grade. And I think if we can get through that, like high school, that's been the topic of conversation with him and I for so long. It's just like, let's get to high school. And I want you to have like the best time, but we have to grow some trust and like really figure out the two of us before he gets into like just the craziness of what high school brings. So
yeah, I have a daughter, so in my head I'm like, I have you for 10 years before your little tweens.
Right.
I'm gonna make you love me so much. So when you do all that stuff, you hurt me, I'm gonna show you videos. You used to love me.
we were friends.
Yeah. So yeah,
Man.
I'm not looking forward to that. But how'd you special education? Why'd you want to? What was that?
So when Aiden was born, I was in school to go to nursing school. And being a single mom at that point, I kind of realized that maybe nursing might not have been the best route just as far as taking
the hours.
Myself and hours. And I'm sure there was going to have to be like night shifts, all that kind of stuff. And so with just wanting to help people in general, teaching just kind of seemed like a natural career path to go into. So I kind of switched from nursing to teaching. And while I was getting my degree, I jumped in as a paraprofessional, like an assistant teacher within the elementary school world, and ended up in an adaptive behavior enclosed classroom with some just special education kiddos, and learned so much from them. Once I graduated with my degree, I wanted to try out a little bit of high school to see which part of the teaching world I wanted to stay in elementary school or go to high school. And I fell in love with like the high school aged kids that just needed a little extra help, and was able to kind of like get on the same level with them. So jumped into teaching in the high school level, and then I coached swim and water polo as well.
Were you a swimmer? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was like,
yeah.
At what age did that start? Because I don't know many swimmers in my time.
Man.
I think I have one friend.
Yeah.
And she did it all throughout. You start young, but I don't know much about it.
I started swimming when I was 7.
Okay.
Just started with like a summer league team. And they, we go from like April to June, and we just practice every day. And that is, and it's funny that you say like you don't know a ton of swimmers. That's like my entire life is.
That's all I know.
Because I'm like just engulfed in like this swim and water polo world.
You're still involved.
Still involved. Yeah. I coach a summer league team, and so I think being able to go back into the coaching world on that end where I fell in love with swim has been crazy because I coach a team right now of 300 little kiddos and from 4 to 18 years old. And
When I was in high school, I used to volunteer at this, for the Special Olympics.
very cool.
Yeah, I did that 3 years in a row, and that taught me a lot. And I'm sure you're still using those tools you learn
Yeah.
with coaching kids. I feel like kids are harder sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to have some patience,
Yeah.
but I'm sure you learned a lot through going that process.
So much of just, and I'm so thankful that the path and the journey was my special education degree, because it wasn't just geared towards special education children. It was just the differentiation of how to teach in general, like whether that was for someone who was autistic or on the spectrum, or just, you know, the average athlete in the pool that needed a different way of explaining something. Like I'm now able to differentiate how I say things or how I teach things because I have that background, and now I might not be using it in the classroom. I'm able to use it when I'm coaching swim or when I'm on the floor doing Hyrox stuff, like just being able to kind of connect with people differently in the way that I say things or teach things is.
Did you do the relays a lot in swimming? Or are you more individual sport?
Relays. What is that?
It just,
Relays and
she don't
swimming.
know.
Sorry.
It's like, think about
No, it's
track.
okay.
Yeah, you know, think about track.
Right. I'm thinking
It's
of
like
baton.
swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
so
thing.
you just, it's
Same thing
so
with
like
swimming.
Just kind of have four
I
people.
totally thought it was always an individual thing, I guess you could
For the
say,
most
mainly.
part, yeah. For the most
okay.
part, it is. You have like your individual swims. Some of the kids will be part of a relay, so you'd have 4 people that
Right.
one at a time. They just go, and whoever
Okay.
has the fastest 4 people. But in the individual sport of swim,
Yeah.
people are still gaining points, and so you still can win
Yeah.
as a team.
Right.
Which we talk so much about, like within practices. It's like, hey, you're getting better for your own goals, but you're also trying to like improve as a team, and we're all trying to win as a team. So
Right.
it's kind of fun to like
The
bounce back and
accountability.
forth between the two of like, you're here getting practice in because you were trying to get better, but also let's build us all up as a team.
Yeah, you just seem like a team player. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I just feel that from you. So it's like I didn't know. I need to know if you did the relay or not. But you're right. You're still one team no matter what.
Yep.
Okay. That was one of my questions that I was going to ask you, actually, like what season or what did you kind of learn from teaching special education and everything? But what I kind of gauged from this was you adapted to personalities.
Yeah.
Because then you have parents as well. Like you have all
Oh,
types
snap. Good catch.
of people. And so I
Yeah.
think that's my takeaway from it. And you starting that everything happens for a reason. And we all go through seasons. And so I'm like trying to think back, what would it be like for Mercedes if she didn't, go? We can always dwell too.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, look where you are now and you being able to do what you are doing.
Yeah.
Is like how you said you were very thankful for it. We have to be.
Paths always end up where they're supposed to. I got stuck so much on the nursing versus educate, like that decision on like, what would it have looked like if I went this way, or what
What ifs?
all of those things. And as I was coaching high school as well, the seniors, okay, I don't know which school do I go to? Like, do I go here? Do I go there? And the most common thing that I would tell them is I don't think there's a wrong decision. Like you could go to either school and you could thrive at either school. You could choose one and be like, hey, this might not be great for me. And you can switch, you can change. But going through the process of like, there might not be, like, obviously there's going to be wrong choices, morals and that kind of stuff. But as far as like what school you go to or what career do you choose? And I think like you can be used wherever you're at. And I was, I was used by the Lord in teaching, and now I get to do that in swimming and coaching and whatever, Hyrox and all the different facets of my crazy life.
What were those nights like when you're like, what the heck am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Were the tears in that? Everything's like, am I doing the right thing? Like,
There was a few. I think it was more just worry again of
anxiety.
Yeah, I'm a very anxious person, and I've really worked on what that looks like and where that where that's rooted in. Like, am I worried about again making the wrong choice or being in the wrong spot, or I even now in this season of life in these last couple of months have been like, okay, am I still supposed to be where I'm at coaching? I've coached this team that I'm with every summer as a head coach for the last 4 years, but I've been a part of the team for the last 10. So I've seen kids grow up and I've seen kids graduate. And I got a message from a mom a couple weeks ago that, there was a comment that was made in the car on the way home from one of the swimmers that just said something about how kind Coach Mercedes was. And I was like, she shared it, and I was like, that is exactly what I needed. Like,
Yes.
just
Yeah.
that the kids who are, this little boy's 8 years old, and he just shared with his mom that I was kind, and I was like, okay,
Done.
that's where I'm at. Like,
Yeah.
there's no other reason to be anywhere else. If this one kid is excited that he's at a practice or doing a sport that he loves, and his coach is kind, I'll take it.
I was literally just telling a buddy of mine, he's an ex-athlete,
Okay.
professional. I was like, you need to give it back. Everything you know, you got to give that back because kids look up to us.
Yeah.
So literally, they're the future. So the future's in our hands. And we are the ones that got to help them, mold them, create them for the next world, for the next generation.
Yeah.
And so you took up your cross, you take up your responsibility, and you're doing a great job because literally the kids saying you're kind, you're getting, those are the best ones. You're not around and they're talking good about you.
Yeah.
That talks about your character. That talks about who you are. When you're not around and people are like, man, that person, man, they're talking highly of you when you're not around. Because usually when you're not around, people, they talk low of you.
Yeah.
Right.
For some people. But that speaks of your character. That's awesome. So you're on the right path because you're giving back. That's what we're called to do. We're supposed to help people.
Share
Exactly.
share the knowledge and share the, experiences and
Pour into them.
yeah.
That's awesome.
It's kind of like whenever you actually open up in prayer and you always say this one phrase, and it's always like, if I can just touch one person. And you always make me ponder on that because I think personally, work-wise, whatever, if I can just touch that one person.
Yeah.
Rather than, because, we're all hard on ourselves. Did I do a good enough job? Did I say the right thing? Did they overthink what I said? And so it's like, no, I know I got one person. So it's just the trust.
My mentor always told me it's all about the one.
Yeah.
You get one person because that one person may be able to get two persons or three or
Right.
maybe one. But you don't know who that one person is going to touch next. You got to be contagious. We got to be carriers of faith, carriers of Christ, like all this. We got to be carriers of
Your energy. Everything.
exactly good personality, a kind person. We got to be carriers of that because it's contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that I constantly am reminding Aiden is like, if you just worry about yourself, like if you are true to what you're supposed to do and you're doing the right thing, like if everybody can just worry about themselves. And I
Right.
say that even in practice with my little kids, they're doing this and this, or so-and-so is not listening. And I'm like, you do what you're supposed to do, and
Yeah.
you kind of stay true to what you know is supposed to be right. And everybody can kind of,
Testimony.
Yeah.
I just told her before this. So my neighbor, if you look at the grass next door, beautiful grass. I mean, oh my goodness. I look at that thing. I walk outside every day and I just get so bad. It's so beautiful. I always want to go there and ask him like, hey, what do you do? But the grass is always greener on the other side.
for sure.
Today I had that revelation. So today I was driving my daughter from a doctor's appointment. We're coming back home and I had all these plans. I'm going to do this, go do this. Everything was set. The day was ready to go. And this Lamborghini drives beside us. And I tell my daughter, look, there's a Lamborghini. Look how nice that car is. Like one day, I was telling myself one day, and the car gets in front of me, and I'm like, man, I'm just following. This is so cool. It was missing a bumper, so I was like, maybe the guy got on discount. But either way, it's a Lamborghini. That's so cool. Then all I hear is a thunk thunk. And my daughter's like, what was that? She's 2 years old. She heard it.
Yeah.
It's serious.
What's going on?
And I was like, I don't know. I heard it too. And then within like 10 seconds, I get an alert on my dash says, flat tire. Your tire's low. I was like, what? I turn a little bit. I'm looking at, because my car would tell me which tire it is, which is crazy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got a flat. Like I got a flat. I find a discount tire close by as I'm just going to go straight to it. But in my head, as I was sitting there, like at discount, like God was like, what did I do? I had to stop myself. Like, nope. What you did do was you were looking at someone else thinking the grass is always greener on the other side. You need to have that to be successful. You need to do this. And you got caught up in the world. You were following the world's path, and it caused you to stumble and pull over.
Yeah.
You had to cease. Look what happened to your plans. It all got pushed back because all this stuff still made it here.
A piece of the envy. In that. And I think finding the difference between, hey, that's a great car, like the difference between admiring it and saying like, wouldn't it be nice? Like maybe that's a goal one day versus like, hey, I want that
Yeah.
versus what I have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His life is better than mine. No, it's not.
Yeah. The comparing. Yeah.
Exactly. I got to water my grass. I'm going to water my grass and take care of what I got, because what I got is what I got. I should love it. Because I'm blessed and fortunate to have what I have.
Yeah. And how do you find the difference between the grass is always greener versus like, hey, I've got goals. Like these are the
Yeah.
things that I want, or these are things that I'm like trying to attain versus this is what I have right now. Like what's
for me, it was like, so the Lambo was like, a car can get me from A to B. My truck gets me to A to B and back to A. Why does it matter how much it costs? Why do I got to have the nicest one just so everyone can see? Am I doing it for other people? Or am I doing it for myself? And that's what that would have been for.
Looking deep into the why.
The root.
That was my insecurities. Like, I need to have this to show people I'm doing good. I don't need to show anybody anything. My daughter needs to be fed.
Yeah.
My wife needs to be trusting in me. I need a roof over her head. That's all I need. The basic essentials.
Yeah.
And I got so caught up on the luxurious things.
Yeah. I'm glad. So wait, so finish the rest of the story on how you ended up asking, because we didn't know what caused the flat tire.
So I asked the guys, can you tell me what happened?
Okay.
They were like, it was a car in front of you. Actually, the car in front of you, they must have dropped this. They had a wheel weight. They must have dropped it because the way it landed into your car was so perfect. It just lodged right in and had a big old hole. So that Lambo is what caused me to have the flat.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep this. Can I keep it? And it's a reminder of don't let the world cause you to stumble. Right. Don't let worrying about other people and other things or impressing other people cause you to stumble. And that was
crazy.
So you're telling your son the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. Good little testimony for the day.
Yeah, it was mine.
Keep that piece close.
Oh, yeah.
I know. That was a good little story.
Yeah.
So, okay, I wanted to drop back, and we were talking about, your kind of background, special education and everything. Now your next steps. You took a leap of faith here, and you decided to, quit the teaching. What was going through your mind at that point? What made you even decipher, to make that decision?
I look back and I don't have. There's one thing that did happen while I was teaching that kind of helped me make my decision. I think there was just some pushes here and there. My first full year of teaching was 2019 to 2020. So
the best
everybody
time.
went home.
Best time.
It was the first semester was great. I was really loving, and I had been in the classroom as an assistant teacher for 4 or 5 years before that while I was getting my degree. So I was very well versed in what the teachers were doing. I was learning from them as we went. But my first full year on my own was going into 2020. So I went home halfway through the year and I was like, oh, this is different. This is, then we came back and it was still a little different. The third year, I think that was when everything was still kind of just off its hinges a little bit. Yeah. And I do think back and get a little bit unsure, not of my decision, but wishing I wouldn't have just been hey, things aren't great, I'm jumping ship. Because that's kind of how it was it was so uncertain and what was going on with teaching. And I just was okay, well, I'm going to take a step back away. And then maybe I'll get back into it when everything from COVID kind of gets back into play. But I was a part of the U.S. history team, teaching 11th grade juniors, which was my favorite. I could kind of get on the same level with them. They weren't quite seniors to where they were just checked out and gone. Freshmen and sophomores just weren't quite there yet. So juniors was my favorite, age range. But we did have a teacher on our staff in our group that passed away in a car accident. And there was a teacher that the next day that we heard about it, he went into the principal's office and was like, hey, I'd like his job and I'd like his classroom. And I was like,
wow.
Just immediately was how fast we were able
to replace.
Yes. And I know that there are so many teachers in general are not replaceable. But in that position, in that moment, I was like, I could not come back tomorrow and school continues on. It has to, I get that, life and world continues to go and people continue to live and that's what we want. But I was in a spot where I wasn't loving what I was doing. Right. And I felt like there could be something else that I could be doing to where I could go to sleep at night and be like, I did find that one person that I was able to help or, and so that was kind of the check box where I was like, okay, I'm gonna, and I put in my notice for that to continue through that year, and then I would be done. But I left without having a job.
Yeah, I
Plan.
usually tell people the best time to look for a job is when you have a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so teaching was done in the end of May, and I kind of took that leap of like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I coached a little bit that summer, and then went into the fall semester just unemployed. It was like just kind of looking around, figuring out what I was going to do, and then Hyrox dropped into my lap October of that same year, and that's where I've been since then. So
walk me through that time of unemployment.
Yeah.
That uncertainty. What was going on in your mind?
I honestly don't remember. Like I don't remember there being too much worry or anxiety, which is very odd for me to like not have been sitting there like just,
Panicking or...
Yeah. I think that there had been so many times financially that had been provided when it needed the most. And I think that I had really settled into my decision that something was going to come
You
through.
knew.
And of course there's still, I still had to put myself out there and have conversations and meet people. And that's what I did within Hyrox.
Yeah.
And I didn't just like sit on the couch and wait for something to come to me. I still went out and found it. But I was just very confident that something would come. And whether or not that was Hyrox or whether that would be the thing that I could go on and do forever. Just kind of stuck in the fact that I knew that teaching wasn't it, and whatever it might be after that, it's going to be a good time.
I say that to my wife sometimes when she starts freaking out, something like that. It's like, we are children of God. He's going to take care of us.
Yeah.
Why are you stressing? Does he not love you?
Yeah.
Does he not show you time and time again? He will make a way when there seems to be no way.
Yeah.
We talked about in the last week's podcast. He will make a way when there seems to be no way.
Yeah.
And then the faith over fear, like just the trust.
But you stuck with something that you had been doing your whole life, fitness.
Yeah.
How did you even hear about Hyrox? What was that? Because that was a fairly new sport around that time.
Yeah. 20, because I had a race, before I had jumped on board with them, within the company, I had done a race earlier that year. So I raced earlier, April of 2022, was still teaching, was like, hey, I just need to, do something on the fitness level. Was in the gym all the time, but I was like, it's like that ex-athlete swimmer mindset of like, how do I now how do I compete again? How do I get back into that athlete mindset?
Yep.
Like, this sounds great. It was awful the first time.
Yeah.
It was rough. But it was great to just kind of get back in that like the athlete mindset. So again, I raced earlier that year, raced again in Dallas later that year. And that's kind of when everything jumped on board, where I just was kind of like poking and prodding and figuring out who was the right person to chat with and figure out, I was like, what can I do to help? Like, I just want to be of service to the company and figure out how do I spread the word. Like, I've fallen in love with it over these last 6 months. How do I tell more people about it? Like, you can start to hold events at gyms, and just from there it just blossomed into now where I'm
It
at.
sure did.
To now covering states, in charge, man.
Yeah.
How new is that? How new is that promotion?
Couple days.
Oh my.
Congrats!
Go.
Couple days.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Officially will be like July 1st is when it like
Okay.
is
Let's
formally
go.
done, but I'm in that transition now. But yeah, a couple days, sign the contract.
Oh, you deserve that one. I know it. I knew it. I think it was a while. God, was it last summer during 4th of July? It was at Lifetime. You were hosting. Well, it was. I don't remember exactly. What
We
it
were.
PFT?
PFT? Was it
Was
a PFT?
that at
The Shenandoah Woodlands one upstairs on the roof. And I
Oh
think
my
I got
gosh.
there early, and it was just you and I for 2 seconds. And I was like thinking, how the heck does this girl manage all these events all over town? Like even Austin,
Yeah.
like you would travel
Yep.
every weekend.
Yep.
How did you do that? Actually, now that I'm, having your son aided and everything, how did you would he go with you? Would he stay back here with your family?
Sometimes. At the time, his dad was living in Austin, so if we did
Okay.
go to Austin, it was great. Like, he got to kind of spend an extra weekend with him out there, and he would come out, and it would be great if he's ever here. My parents don't live too far, and they still live in the house that we moved in when we got here in
Awesome.
1999. So
That's awesome.
they're 7 minutes down the road from
Oh,
us now,
perfect
too,
scenario.
which is also wonderful. Sometimes he would prefer to be over there than he would prefer to be at home.
Yeah.
But I also love that. Like, they have
Yeah.
a great relationship. We did live with my parents until he was 5. So he has a great relationship with them
Good.
and my brothers. But yeah, so event wise, it was just at the time, we didn't have as many gyms. I probably had 30 to 40 gyms that I was kind of managing events, and not everybody was throwing events all the time. And now with, adding on the northern part of Texas into Oklahoma, I've got about 300 gyms. So that has changed a little bit. But managing that I look back and I don't really know.
Yeah.
Just kind of a month to month type thing. And schedules would be kind of filled out. And there was so much help.
Yeah.
I had such a good support system between, again, my family. I had some friends that would just jump in and grab him. I have so many friends with kids the same age as Aiden. So I'd be like, hey, we're doing this and this. And then everybody was just helping out. So
good. That's community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got so much stuff. I guess I'm gonna touch base. So, were you always in the gym throughout this whole time, throughout all these years, or was there a pause in working out? Or
there was a pause after I had Aiden for a couple years. So I think I didn't get back in the gym till he was about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Stepped into an F45 when he was, again, 2 or 3, and that's kind of been my background since. So I did F45 for a handful of years, and then Hyrox came along through that. So there was a trainer from F45 that went and did a Hyrox race, came back and stoked about it, told everybody. And there was a couple of us that were like, yeah, that sounds good. Everybody else was like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
That does not sound fun. I'm
Right.
like, well, fun is subjective.
Yeah, it
is. One person's fun. And so, yeah, we just jumped from that kind of into.
So you always had, your body was always working. You're always working on your body. Your spirit seems to be intact. You just walked in faith. In your mind, you hit that grieving point, kind of your mortality hit, and you're like, these people don't really care. I need to find something that has meaning and value to me.
Yeah.
This fulfillment. And now you're touching lives. I'm hoping you're getting fulfilled, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one thing that we all want. We all want to get fulfilled.
Yeah.
And
Fill
we
our
think
cup.
our identity comes from our job,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's not. You're not a regional manager. You are, but that's not who you are.
Yep.
And you're not a salesperson, or you're not a manager either.
Yeah.
That's not who you are.
I agree. And that's why I think like we can always have a company name behind us, but like branding ourselves, who we really are, I think this has happened to me it didn't hit me probably until the past like 3 years, 2 years, like actually, where I'm like, I'm going to utilize with what I love to do, somehow make it work with my work. That's why we've done a food drive. Like we've done things that I'm passionate about as a human, and then kind of just work my way through that. Like who is Sienna and like who is Mercedes? Like, I know you as a mom and like a full-time, like you're full-time everything. I'm sure you have your moments, which I have so many questions about, like when do you rest, which is what we talked about this week as well.
Yeah.
We'll get there because I actually want to ask you that.
Yeah.
Just all the things. I just, like I said, I just feel like we're all a walking testimony, and we have to give ourselves grace too on those bad days, because it's tough.
My very first tattoo is the
Really?
Yeah. So just a simple little reminder all the time of just whether that be to myself mostly, obviously to other people as well, but it's just a nice little.
That's crazy because that word has been on my heart the past week so hard, and I'm like writing it in my notes just to keep. I want to actually look up. Do we know what that word actually means?
Grace.
Yeah, like definition wise.
Something that we get that we don't deserve. That's what it means to me, I think.
Yeah.
But I was actually telling my wife about this the other day. Like, I didn't do anything for what I got. It's by His grace,
Right.
because He loves me. Like, I could work, I could do all that, but I didn't deserve all. That's why the flat tire, I knew, like, when I first said, it's like I had to stop myself. No, I'm covered in grace. Like, it happened because it happened.
Yeah.
Don't get upset about it. Yeah. I try not to let things get to me. Sometimes they do. I am human.
Yeah.
What does it mean, Sienna?
So grace is frequently associated with ideas like mercy, forgiveness, and a transformative power that can heal and restore. Okay.
It says right there, go back. It's freely given by God to all humans. Freely. There's no price. For free. You got it
And
already.
that's hard
You're
to
covered.
find.
Yep.
For free.
I agree.
I want to get faith tatted on me. That's one thing I always got to remind myself when stuff happens. Have faith.
Yeah.
Keep walking.
I have that one. I have faith. Faith, strength. Those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just those two words. They're powerful.
It is. It's just like I want to just smack it, remind myself faith. You got this.
Just a
have
quick little
faith.
touch. Yep.
I never would have thought we would have had a podcast over faith. Like, it's just crazy to think back where you were many, many years ago And then to think it's just like finally all coming to light in some form or fashion, even if I can just get that one person.
Well, we talked about what was that scripture? It was Romans, 2 Corinthians.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians.
The new creation, the old is gone, but the new has come.
Yeah.
That old person, you shouldn't even recognize. I don't recognize my old self. That
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I was literally going to tell us, like, I'm putting it on my IG handle. Like, if you're looking for Rocky from 2017 before,
Right.
he's dead. He's gone. Don't even think about him. If
Yeah.
that's who you see me as, then you don't see me. You gotta
Very cool. Yeah.
you gotta kill that person. And I'm sure there's an old person that people gotta let go of. But
Yeah.
The growth.
and that was my part. That was my also the thing with like the Lambo and all that. I've been
Yeah.
trying to prove to the world I'm not
Right.
that.
Right.
But I don't gotta prove to them. I'm covered in grace.
There's not.
I'm a child of God. I already won. It's hard.
It's not easy. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you manage everything now? Like now this year, today, as of today, because when are you coaching? What days? Are those certain days of the week? Because it's summertime.
Yes. So during the school year, Aiden was at school. I'd get a lot of my Hyrox stuff done during the week, or during the day. Sorry, and then he had water polo practice from 6 to 8.
So
every
he
night.
does water polo.
Were you his coach?
Does. I was the last couple years. So I was doing Hyrox. I was coaching his club team, and then I was also coaching at F45.
Wow.
And the details just came
Yeah,
out.
You're realizing, oh golly, good for you.
So he would go to school. I would go coach at 45 at 9 and noon. And then I get home at 1, do a little resting time, lunch. He'd get home and we would go to practice from 6 to 8. This last year, I stepped back from coaching club, kind of allowed him to kind of flourish on his own without me there. I've always been on the pool deck with him, whether he swim or polo for the last really 8 years that he's been swimming or playing. And so I wanted to kind of allow him, one, to have his own
Right.
facet of
Yeah.
polo, so he could grow. Of course, mom doesn't know anything about water polo. So even now that I'm like, oh, you should probably try this. And he's like, that doesn't work. I'm like, okay, it's fine.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. Until, it comes back after practice. And sometimes he's like, so we worked on this. And I'm like, oh,
That's crazy.
yeah,
Who would have
that's
thought
great.
that?
I don't know how. Yeah. And so after stepping back from that, this last year, days look like Hyrox during the day. I would coach F45 during the day as well. And then coaching swim is from 4 to 8 every night. Get back up, do it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and Lauren are definitely friends.
That's why whenever I had to reschedule coffee, I was like, oh, today's not the
Yeah.
day. We got to move
Right.
things around, which now we have swim in the morning. So I swim practice from 6:30 to 10 every morning. And then my days are very flexible with Hyrox. Like I have some meetings here and there.
Right.
But I'm able to make my own schedule, which I think is what I was really like wanting out of
Now I see why y'all are friends.
Yeah.
being able to make the days.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned rest, and my first thought was my Mondays are like my me days. I have a really good friend, Danielle, that calls them her CEO Mondays because she's able to be the CEO of her life with all the different brands that she has. And so I kind of adopted that as well. And Mondays are the days that I get to, if I want to fill them with meetings, I can. If I want to, Aiden and I went to Typhoon, Texas on Monday. A couple days ago. Like we just decided to go and do, something on our own. And so the flexibility of my positions, I think, is really kind of what's allowed me to flourish and thrive and be able to cut, I can coach if I wanted to because I can have meetings when I need to. And there's going to be a little bit more added responsibility with the full-time role now, but still going to be some flexibility there.
Will you
So
be
I'm excited.
traveling a little bit more?
It's an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an option.
Yeah.
I'm not, if they need some help at some of the races,
Right.
I will go to New York. I will
Yeah.
go to Vegas. You tell me when and where. I will make it happen. And I think that travels have been a really big thing too this summer that that I quit teaching. Aiden and I went on a month-long road trip.
Oh, wow.
Just the two of us.
That's so awesome.
We have some family in Colorado, so we made that drive up to Colorado. Have the family in Montana, so stayed there for about a week. Came down, visited family through Idaho and Utah, and then made our way
You
back
got
home.
family all over. You got Vikings in your blood. or
Yeah.
something.
Beautiful places.
Yes.
God.
So I think over that entire 30 days that we were gone, I think we stayed in an Airbnb maybe 2 or 3 times because we just have family
That's awesome.
everywhere. So it was great. It was a great time to get away and travel. And so, yeah, with Hyrox being a little bit of travel-esque too, I'm like, sure.
Make the best of it. You have to
What,
nowadays.
what has motherhood taught you throughout your journey?
Do we have time? Do we have time? Oh, my goodness. That is a good question. Everything. Like grace, patience, like fruit of the spirit. All of them.
How to love.
I mean,
What love is.
Yes, yeah. Like truly, deep down, it's taught me a lot about myself, who I want to be, how I want to raise him. You know, even I think we use a lot of how we were raised. And I've tried really, really hard to not go the complete 180 of how I was raised. I think there's so many
Yeah,
things.
I take tidbits
and
myself.
Pieces of how the things that my mom and dad did and what they did really well. And again, tried not to just be like, okay, I'm doing everything the opposite way because this and that and the other. But mothership. Goodness gracious, I'm thinking my brain. Side note, my brother went to.
Don't say he went to his mothership. He's lucky. That's one of my.
That's why I was like, no. He called me on the way there yesterday. And
He's
he was
so
like,
lucky.
I know. I was like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, I found out 2 days ago. I said, you had 2 days. 2 days to tell your sister. But anyways, motherhood. Get back on track.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's just taught me a lot about who I am and who I want to be. And I'm able to become that person through the things that I'm teaching him. Might not have been things that I was taught. Kind of realizing that, and I've talked to my mom a little bit about this in the past of, we were never taught how to apologize. Like it was just like you did something wrong, you have to say sorry.
Right.
The biggest conversations I have with Aiden now are, why? If you don't feel like you did something wrong, I don't need an apology, but I need you to think about why someone might deserve an apology. Like, you know, and so we've talked about the background of that and just walking through conversations of why things are the way that they are and not just things are this way. He's very much but why? But why? And not in which I'm sure at 2 years old now, but why? Why do I have to, you know, the why questions are there.
We'll talk. I'll let you finish and I'll say my comment.
But with him, it's at 12 is a truly genuine, like, I need to know why you're asking me to do these things. And I think growing up, it was that you do these things because you're told to and because there's a level of respect.
Because I'm the adult.
Yes. And there's still a piece of that's true. But we sit down constantly and just talk about why. Why?
I learned that from Bluey. The mom, there was a reason, there's a thing like why? And the mom said, because I said so. And both the kids yell out, that's not a reason. You're not supposed to get there. In their household, I guess, you're not supposed to say because I said so. You're supposed to say why. But my daughter, I told you this the other day. I don't want to get this canceled before you even take off. But I was telling her, forgive me, this is just what I was just saying. I don't mean it. But I feel like sometimes women don't know how to apologize or they can't apologize, don't have the ability to.
Yeah.
'Cause I have a 2-year-old little girl. And she cannot say sorry. Like she can't. She won't say it. She will, like, if I look at her and she did something, I'm like, please tell me you're sorry. She'll start smiling at me. She'll say, Daddy, but sorry will not come out of her mouth. It is so crazy. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You know how scary that is? I was like, But I'm trying to teach her by saying sorry to her mom for little stuff, but she ain't picking up on it.
Active practicing too. Like being able to, whether it's something big or something small. And you know, the other day Aiden was joking around and he found something on the floor and just like tossed it across the room and hit me right in the face. And I was like, okay, well, here we are, just throwing things across the room.
Yeah.
And he was like stunned. I'm like, sorry, just quick. Like it's not, you know, I know you didn't mean to. I know you didn't even mean to hit me in the face.
Right.
But like just that quick.
you did.
It happened. And so you should just apologize. Just quick. It's all good.
Yeah, she'll make the face that she knows she messed up, but she makes that smile. She uses that cuteness to her advantage now.
She knows.
She does. She's really smart. And that's why I even feel like what you're saying, having that, obviously she's 2 years old, to have a deeper conversation, it's got to be harder. But to teach the emotional intelligence and the empathy, I feel like it's always like you're told, it's like being told your chores. You always kind of stray away. Like, no, no, I don't, you know how that goes being younger and
Just
stuff.
because you're being told to do
Right.
it, you don't.
It strays you
like
away.
where that comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think now, even being older and learning that empathy towards someone being rude to me, for example, but I'm like, wait, they didn't mean that. I'm taking it personal. They gotta let me have some emotional intelligence towards what they could potentially be going through for the day, you know. And that's just where those emotions and the awareness comes in. I feel like being taught that, you're teaching them at a really good age too.
I'm trying.
You're doing amazing.
But we also got to be bold sometimes.
For sure.
Can't let
We
people
can
walk
get
on
taken
us.
advantage of. Yeah, absolutely. It comes, I know, sometimes me and Sadie are really too nice sometimes. I'm also learning that. We all got work to do.
It's always work to be done.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you something. So from women listening to this, especially those in seasons of uncertainty, what would you like them to take? What do you have something to say as far as any type of advice that they could take away from this? Because you've been through some seasons, but you've been consistent.
Yeah.
You know, I would have to say, I'm sure you've had your moments. I've had my path where I'm like in a rut.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like getting up today.
Yeah.
I don't feel like working today.
There has been those days. There's been those weeks. There's been even as much as a month of just not knowing.
Right.
Again, what was coming next. And I think even the trust or the faith has been at the bottom of the list of like, okay, it's there.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold on to it, but like, I need to do all these other things before I just,
For sure.
pull that one break out the top and start with the trust and the faith and go from there.
Yeah.
But what do we want people to know from all of this?
So how did you get out of those months that you were in something? Was it just you consistently trying every single day by day to make yourself, I don't know, do something you loved doing? Would you go to the gym? You know what I mean? What was the thing for you? Because we're all different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm a gym goer, but there's days I'm like every day, twice a day maybe. And there's months I didn't want to go because I didn't feel like it. And I would call up a friend, an accountability person sometimes, just to kind of, hey, let's talk. This is how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? We all handle things differently.
Yeah. I did, in different seasons of my life, have different tribes and people and community. I had a great group of women that had kids all the same age as Aiden and went through a big season with them. That kind of dwindled down into a smaller group. And then I've kind of transitioned into, I've got friends from high school that are great, great women that have kind of seen all the seasons and they have yet to leave.
Yeah.
They have yet to, they've been patient with me through different seasons as I have with them and as we have with each other.
Yeah.
Patient in, the times where I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to be a part of the group. I don't want to do things. And then there's been times where it's the same thing where they're going through different things. So I think community really has been the biggest thing.
Confiding, being vulnerable. For me, I struggle being vulnerable sometimes. And so I think I needed to get over that hump.
Yeah.
And trusting, those group of friends, your sisters, people that don't want to see you down, but are okay with, they're still choosing you. So I think that's really important just to get, like you said, get your tribe.
Yeah. What it sounds like to me, you also never stopped moving.
Yeah.
Even though you never stopped moving. You were always taking a step. Even though it may not look like it because you were 6 months unemployed, but you were going to the gym. That going to the gym had led you to Hyrox. And then when you got there, look where you're at now. Like you kept moving. If you were just at home waiting for your identity, waiting for your purpose, you'd have never. Yeah. People had that faith in God, like, oh, he's going to show me. He's going to give me the way. But they don't move.
Yeah.
Faith without works is death. You moved. You were stepping one foot in front of the other. You were getting out of your bed. You were going to the gym. You did that. And while doing that, led you to where you're at now. And who knows where it goes to next. Because you have this on your resume with the fastest, it's crazy where you just keep moving. The world is yours. Keep moving. And I think that's what I see from your stories. You never stopped. Don't look like you folded. You may have crumbled a few times, but you got back up.
Yeah.
There's definitely tears behind this whole story. I know that. I know there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you kept moving, and that's why you're at where you're at.
Yeah. And I think hearing that from you is huge because there might have been the tiniest steps and then like just getting, like you said, just getting up one day or just getting out of the house or, you know, taking Aiden to one thing or another. And then that led me to seeing a friend and being able to sit there and chat. And the steps over the lot, I mean, it has been for about 3 years now. But they didn't, the steps didn't seem as big. Now they do, looking back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are.
Your purpose don't look crazy when you're living it. Your death.
Yeah.
Death and destiny look the same for a season because we're seeds and we're planted. Once we get planted, we go into the darkness. What else gets planted? A coffin gets planted. A dead body gets planted. So does a seed. You get all that dirt thrown on you. So it looks like death and destiny look the same for a season. You're in darkness. You're surrounded by it. There's nowhere to go, and then you keep going down. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you're growing your roots. And then you sprout, and then this beautiful tree appears, and everyone's like, man, this tree is beautiful, but they don't see the roots underneath what took to get here. And that's why I rooted and rising.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all.
Those little steps are big roots. We just don't know yet till the storm comes, and we don't fall because, oh, I've already seen this before. I've already been through this before. I've gone through that. This can't stop me now.
Yeah.
This storm will not make me tip over. Some leaves may fall off, but nothing. I'm not tipping over. And your fruits are truth that you're a big tree. You have amazing fruits right now. That's awesome.
I'm saying, girl, you stayed consistent through it all. So
yeah, that's why we had you on here.
Yeah.
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 Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
You don't get to where you're at without roots.
Yeah.
Because you don't last 3-4 years if you have no roots. I'm sure storms came while you were there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people don't usually last. Sometimes they may get that thing, but their character reveals themselves, so they're not trusted with that, and it gets taken away from them. Your character would have already been revealed, and it has been, and that's why you got promoted and not
moving. We're
exactly
moving.
not rejected and taken away.
Dang. Good job, Rocky. See, you're so good. You need a bit of motivational speaker.
This is your life. I'm not doing anything.
No, I know, but you speak so well, and it just flows. I'm working on it. You got to surround yourself by people that you.
That's part of my roots.
I look up to that.
Some of my roots. I was the vice president for an organization in my college.
Yeah.
And I helped people get jobs. I interviewed them. I faked interviewed them and told them, and I helped them go to interview, and I helped people get big time jobs. And it's like, man.
Yep.
But yeah, because I see we can't see who we are sometimes. We see each other every day.
Yeah.
We see ourselves every day in the mirror, so we look at all the flaws. But someone who doesn't notice, you don't know there's a tattoo right here. I don't know if there's scars. I don't know any of that. I don't see that. I see you.
Yeah.
And when you tell me, it's like, I just tell me what I see. And then I don't need to know anything else. I respect you. Awesome. Yeah, I had a good conversation.
Thank you for coming on.
You built me up today.
Absolutely. I
Good.
appreciate that. Yeah. I was a little nervous, but I did get to shoot a text to my girlfriends on the way here, and I was like, guess what? So cool. And it was just, I mean, they're the best. They're like, this is so cool. We're so proud of, just those people that you can not only share like the down moments, but being able to be like, hey, I'm really excited for this, and I'm really proud of myself for this, or this is what's happening. And they can be like, this is great. So proud of you. Like, not just hey, how can I help you?
Yeah.
But like, let's clap and let's cheer for you all along the way. Like, they're the best. They are the best.
It's so
Amen to
crucial.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to tell her my blessings all the time.
I know.
Because she knows the struggle.
Yeah.
But to tell her my blessings is awesome. Like, sometimes I get scared to say it, but you got to be proud of what God's done for you.
I agree. Having those accountability partners. That's what it's like, especially the older we're getting. I'm like, they're so hard to find. Yeah. And so I'm like holding on to those that got me, just like I got them back,
Yeah.
But I have a couple fun finisher questions for you.
Okay.
So, I want to know what is your favorite Hyrox station?
Wall balls.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Wall balls.
The best for last, I guess.
I love them. Yep. And I don't know if it's, I can see the finish line. I'm almost done. Like, let me just get through 100 of these wall balls. But I find so much like, I don't even know what the word is.
Joy.
No,
Adrenaline?
not that one. Not joy.
But it's a tough one. It's one of the tough ones.
I think it does have something to do with like I have come so far. I am an hour and 15, hour and 20, however long I've been into this workout, and this is all I have left. Like, you are not done. Like, you just have to get through and you just wall ball it out 100 times.
Okay,
speaks
that
to your
shocked
character a
me.
little bit.
Okay, yeah, I don't even know. Yeah,
That talks about what I said. She keeps moving.
Mm-hmm.
You've already gone through all of that, and then
Yeah.
wall balls
Outward.
are sometimes considered the hardest one because
Yep.
all your energy's been taken up. You got to do
mentally, physically.
now 100 wall balls,
Yeah.
and you keep moving. It speaks to who you are.
At a time.
Look at you.
Overcomer.
Yep. You're up. Okay. Coffee, tea, or pre-workout?
Ooh, coffee.
Okay.
Coffee.
What about you?
Tea, but I'm back on coffee recently.
Really?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm about to get back off of it.
The jitter is.
That's probably what happened to me
They get
today. I got coffee.
A little jittery. You?
Yeah, I
Pre-workout.
pre-workout. You are definitely a pre-workout
I
person.
know. I
I
know.
see that. Yeah.
Or the C4s, those dang energy. I'm gonna stop. I need to get away from them. I need to get. Okay, so we're gonna do.
Oh, favorite Hyrox station, real quick, while you can.
I love the rower.
Mm.
I don't know. I think learning the how to row correctly ish or try to, mind you, because it's
The
a
only
lake
one you
thing.
get to sit down and do.
Yeah.
Sit down, have a little rest.
The consistency. That I'd have to say that took time.
Yeah.
though. You running.
Farmer carry.
Oh,
I trained my whole life with that, getting all the grocery bags. Yeah, trying to do one trip. I trained my whole life for that. That was the perfect thing for me.
I always want to like catch myself on my Ring camera because I'm like, how many things can I hold?
one trip.
Every bag, every water bottle, everything from the car. I'm not coming back out.
Oh yeah, I wish I had that when I was a kid. I like grab some crazy stuff.
Oh man.
Let's see. Okay, one thing Cyprus has that you love and wouldn't trade. Anything about it. It could be a restaurant. It could be.
Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden.
Him. My family. My family's here. They're all here. My
Yeah.
younger brother is in College Station, and it's like,
Okay.
it's just close enough.
Yeah.
That
They can go to the mothership without you.
I've been going over there like once a week.
Okay.
Just coming to say hi, and he's like, okay, sounds good.
How many siblings do you have?
Two brothers. Yeah.
An older?
brother, married with 2 kids, and he lives just inside the Beltway. And then younger brother is 10 years younger than me.
Okay.
Is out in College Station.
That's cool. They got a good relationship.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
family being here, I'm like, can you come back? Can you come back? So we're all here.
Yeah.
It's like I'm only an hour away. Like, okay.
Cute.
Pump up song.
Do you have a pump up song?
Pump up song. Oh man, I have a good old Hyrox playlist.
Okay.
I listened to before. But
Yeah.
it's filled with so much. I mean, there's country in there.
I was gonna say, is it mixture?
Just
Okay.
a mixture of like whatever I listen to it while I'm in the warm up zone, and so it's just kind of
Okay.
whatever. There's just songs as I've gone through that I'm like, yep, that's what I need to hear before I go on. And
Okay.
there's a little AC/DC in there.
Nice.
A little country music.
Nice. I'm like EDM music.
Okay.
Like the electronic. I don't know. I've been in it for
So you get pumped up.
Yep. That's
One-
that's my whole Spotify list, to be honest. It's what is it called? Whenever they remix a song, like a famous song or something. I don't know. It's just my
If we had one song before you go to Hyrox, that would be that.
that would
EDM.
be I would be, yeah.
Okay.
I used to go to the raves and stuff back in the day. Okay, fun fact. I dressed in gym clothes. Like I never like dressed the part, but I loved a good old like just music. Just music.
Yeah.
Anyways, no one knows that about me at all. They always freak out whenever I tell them.
Yeah. I remember too. My pump up song would be Hall of Fame by Swoop.
Okay.
What he just says, I'm trying to get grinding all day. Hall of Fame in my mind. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm trying to go to the Hall of Fame.
There
Even
you
though-
and you will.
Yeah, with podcasting.
A quote or phrase you're living by right now? Anything I know, right? This one's kind of like literal. It doesn't have to be. Mantra.
Yeah, I have some. I'm a big like dry erase gal on my mirror, so
Yeah.
there's tons of stuff on there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
You are friends with Lauren.
And I struggle with imposter syndrome quite often. So and in again,
So I got a flat.
the coaching world, and should I be here? Where am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to be in the
Yeah.
right spot? All that, the questioning. And I don't think there's anything wrong with checking in and seeing where you're supposed to be. But I often question myself in, I'm the head coach and now I've got this full-time role with Hyrox, but now I can't remember exactly what the mirror says, but along the lines of like my knowledge and my skills are valid, are like,
Yeah. They got you here.
they got me where I was supposed to be. And so just kind of relying on, you are, again, where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Like I told you, 3-4 years that your character would already been revealed to them where they can't use you. They're using you, and they're still like I said. So you are where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. I agree.
And you keep moving, and then if you feel like you're not, keep on moving. You'll find somewhere else.
Please call us on the days that you don't feel like moving.
Yeah.
We got you.
What you got for a quote?
So funny. I've thought about this. I don't really necessarily have a quote, but I have something I always feel like I have to tell myself, and that's not to be so hard on myself. I always have to keep reminding myself, don't be so hard on yourself, Sienna. You're fine. You're doing a good job in whatever that is.
Yeah.
And so, because I really can, and I struggle with that. But that's what I got.
Mine is just trusting in God. That's what I've been living by lately. Stuff comes up, trust in God. Give it to Him.
I've always done, since we've done the faith over fear one, that's been faith over fear, faith over fear. We all have fears. You know, public speaking, doing all the things, doing this. It's like, oh, am I going to stutter today?
Right. Yeah.
But that's where the organic conversations and just, you know, being real and authentic. And that's kind of what we want the podcast to be about, is it's okay.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm going to go back to something real quick before we get into this. You said something when you found out about Hyrox, you wanted to tell everybody about it. That's how I am with Jesus. That's how we all should be with Jesus. He's the good event that we went. He's the good restaurant that we go to that you got to tell your friends about.
Yeah.
And that's what this podcast wasn't supposed to be so much about it when we first started. Like, he was in it, but now he's like every single time we do, and it was just
always in conversation.
And now I got a Bible study here at the house. We got a Bible study here at the house, and things like that. Now he's everywhere. He's influencing everything in my life, and that's why I've been being blessed tenfold.
Yeah.
So, is there anything we can pray for you for? We won't do it on the podcast. We won't do it in person. Tonight, before we go to bed in our prayer closets, anything we can pray for you for, and the people who are listening might be able to want to pray for you too.
I think just stepping into, again, as anybody steps into a new season, just being unsure of what that will look like and what it will bring. Again, I've been so flexible of being able to raise Aiden and have the jobs that I have and have the support. And I think just kind of as excited as I am about what a new season will bring, there's uncertainty to it. So just kind of being, again, just settled into, I am where I'm supposed to be, and trusting that schedules will work out and community will come around just like they always have. So,
Right.
That's okay. That's it.
You got to be sure, like, the ground is sure when you get out of the bed. Like, you don't even question when you get out of bed, the floor's going to be there. Have that same type of faith that where you're at is where you're supposed to be at. Like, the floor is there.
Dang. Any last words?
That was pretty much it. That was it. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Mercedes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much
taking
for
time
having
out
me.
of your day.
I appreciate it.
You did. All right.
This was great.
We'll see y'all on the next one.
Oh, wait, remember, stay rooted and keep rising.